just gonna nerd out, I think, is what's gonna happen. And then we're gonna have questions and people are gonna ask them, and then everybody's just gonna walk away a smarter person, including this guy. It's gonna be good. Oh, wait, hold on, I gotta one more drink here. All right. So I'm not exactly, this is my first time guest hosting, so I'm not sure if I should hit the on-air button before we start or after we start this whole situation. What? Okay. We're right now. Should hit the hit on-air button. Should hit. Okay, I'm gonna go do that. All right. All right. Confirming we're going on air right now, and to click air and megaphone. All right, gotcha. All right. So welcome to the show. To start it, we're going to go ahead and initiate the first sequence here, which is the beginning of the slide. Oh, there we go. I think I have access, hopefully. Oh. All right, welcome. Put your hands up, everybody. Here we go. Yeah. Truly honored to be a guest host here on The Hive. Woohoo! That's pretty cool music. That is pretty cool music. Hands up for that. All right. Well, once, as I just said right there, I'm very humbled to be here as the guest host of today's episode on The Hive. Of course, it's originally hosted by Vivian. You guys all know Vivian is an amazing VR enthusiast, and I got to meet her at OC5. So, Vivian, thank you very much for allowing me to be here tonight. Of course, this wouldn't be possible without her. So, and of course, I've got a bunch of helpers around doing some moderation as well as some work with the live cameras. So, thank you very much for that. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. So, as you can see behind me, we've got the Hive special with RealityCheckVR. Some of you guys know me as RealityCheckVR. My name's Caleb in real life, and we're going to get to know each other just a little bit before we start. Today we're going to be talking about VR tips and tricks, as well as how to live stream and possibly record if that's something you want to do. And of course, if you have any questions at the end, we're going to go ahead and have a nice section where you guys can ask those questions. So hello, people are still joining up. Definitely glad to have you all here right now. So I'm very stoked. And of course, that's Dawn. Is that Dawn? That must be VR Gamer Dude right there. Yeah.
That is VR Gamer Dude. What's up, man?
All right. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. So we're going to definitely have to talk to that guy later on. So we're going to go ahead and get started, as I said. And to get to know each other, boom, there we go. We've got some photos here on the screen. And VR tips and tricks. Woo! So what we've got right here is just a kind of a quick little synopsis of what my daily life is now. It's constantly in virtual reality. So when I'm going to be talking about these things, at least you can feel good knowing that I've had a lot of experience playing virtual reality, streaming in virtual reality, and recording. So some of the tips I'm going to have are my opinions, and you can definitely use them. Hopefully they're going to be a benefit to you. And if they're not, well, you know, there's a lot of other resources out there that I think that everybody should be jumping to everything. You know, if you're interested in it, you want to read as much as you can and learn as much as you can. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Right here, you can see we've got the OC5 picture with the Oculus Quest, which was quite a fun time. We got the unboxing of the Vive Pros, of course, at work, and got to go to Rio de Janeiro and get one of these cool photos with Jesus, which was really, he's totally into VR, so that's pretty awesome. We're gonna go ahead and jump into the next slide here. We've got Sao Paulo, Brazil, as well as some other cool photos of some of the events that I've done recently. So back end story, we're gonna go ahead and start real quick at the beginning. I got into virtual reality because I wanted to develop a virtual reality. And you know, when you start to do development for virtual reality, there wasn't a lot of information out there. There wasn't a lot of videos available. So one of the first things I did was I started searching on YouTube for these videos. And when I couldn't find them, I decided, hey, I'm gonna make some videos to try to help people with these. So I started doing some tutorials. And after doing that, I started making my game, and I started making videos of my game. And people were like, oh, you know, he's a content creator. It's like, no, I'm a developer, right? But I kind of got pegged as a content creator, so I started making more and more videos. And as time went on, I kind of got more and more into VR to where I started going to the conferences. Of course, last year at GDC, I ended up meeting the team of Arvery, as well as Anna Ribeiro, who's also in the audience tonight. Hello. And now I am in Sao Paulo and working for this team, Arvery. They are the ones who published Pixel Ripped 1989, as well as a few other experiences that they've had coming out in the past couple of years, in the past year, I guess. And we've just also opened up an arcade there in Sao Paulo in one of the malls. And anyway, we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about that. So as you can see in the pictures right here, Sao Paulo is a concrete jungle with 22 million people inside of it. It is like the New York of Brazil, and there is a lot of development going on there with all kinds of things as far as technology goes. But when it comes to virtual reality, this company is killing it. They are kind of leading the whole segment of VR in South America as it is. So right here, we've got kind of an aerial view of the company. I took that with the old Mavic Pro. It's pretty cool. Up here in the top right, you can see we've got a photo at, this is Ubisoft in Brazil, and Ana Ribeiro is about to do one of her live streams. I follow them around quite a bit. We'll talk about that. And right here on the bottom, we've got like a little investor party, which is going on because they're constantly just trying to get the word out about virtual reality. So switching on the next slide here, and boom. So here is some pictures of myself. In the bottom here, one of the cool ones is I got to be involved in the Pixel Rip game. So that's one of the shots right there. If you ever shoot the television set on level 3, you'll see that. So it's kind of fun. I felt pretty proud of that. Woohoo, it's my little moment of coolness. And then of course we got to go to the different Comic-Con in Brazil. It's the largest Comic-Con of the world. So, you know, being a part of the company, I get to do a lot of these different events, and it's really, really awesome to experience those things. So I get to share these things with you guys, and that's kind of, you know, one of the more fun things, is being able to actually do that. So right here, this last one, I told you we've opened up some arcades here recently in Brazil. One of them is an escape room, and that one is where you can play like Assassin's Creed, and you can go through the entire area playing different escape things, 2v2, or I guess 2 people or 4 people, and you can kind of just do all these puzzles together. It's really, really fun. They've got an MSI backpack and a Vive Pro for every single player in that, and you can see Ricardo, the CEO, up here playing that. Magic Leap right there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and keep moving forward. So here is some of the photos of the team at Arvery. Here is our end of the year party on the top there, and right down here, this is the Pixel Up team doing their development, and they're kind of getting ready for 95 here. I think they were doing some stress tests on the different headsets. It's kind of fun just to see them working some days. You can walk up and just steal all of their stuff and just walk out, and they have no idea that you stole it. So thanks for all the cookies, guys. I really appreciate your snacks. All right, and then of course Ubisoft right there. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and move on now. So actually, I want to go back. Stay right here real quick. So I guess I just want to say real quickly, you know, big thanks to the team at Arvery for allowing me to be a part of all these things. I got to, you know, sit and watch virtual reality at home, just like most people on YouTube, and being an enthusiast of it. And now I get to actually kind of work with it every single day, and that's really a very cool thing for me. And when we're talking about streaming, when we're talking about recording, when we're talking about doing any of these things, I really want to stress, at least since I have a little platform right here that I can stand on and say something, you know, you should be doing it because you want to give people value. You want to be giving people something that you see a lack of yourself. If you see something missing there, then that's what you can put forth and create value for somebody else. So if you're going to be a streamer, you know, don't do it for money, don't do it for fame, do it for trying to give other people value, and do it for a release for yourself. So, you know, I don't think that you have to be narcissistic or a megalomaniac to do those things, but you have to be careful about your intentions. So I'm going to go ahead and jump through here. And you know what? I'm not saying you won't be successful. You could probably be very successful being, you know, one of those megalomaniac things, but it's just not going to be good overall. Plus, there's too many of them already. So anyway, we're going to jump into it. If you want to be a streamer, if you want to record, first, it starts with accessories, right? I mean, you got to have the gear to do it. So we're going to touch up on some things. It goes without saying that to play VR, you're going to have a good PC. So I'm not talking about the PC. I'm not talking about those specs. There's a lot of information about what kind of PC that you need if you want to be into VR. So I'm going to talk about these things. And this is just kind of off the top of my head. There's no specific order here. But as you can see, we've got the Pro Tube, the TP Cast, the breakout cable, magnetic cable lift, sensor holders, HMD holders. This is cap, biker gloves, proxy mat, and 3D rudder. I'm just listing them all here. This is one of those things that you don't have to have all these things, but if you're into specific things like esports, you're going to want some things more than others. If you're into just streaming, you know, a sit-down simulator, then you're going to want the joystick. So it really depends on what you're going to want to do as to what your list is going to be entitled. So, all right, that was, if you come up here, you have to dance. That's what Vivian says, okay? So I remember the rules. All right, so we're gonna jump right into here. What are these things that I'm talking about? I wanna kind of just quickly go over each thing. ProTube VR. If you are into Onward, like I know some of this community is, Vivian surely is, Onward is one of those games, or Contractors, or any game where you're holding a gun, really. You can use one of these ProTubes, which is a pretty sweet little utility because you can actually adjust it to fit any kind of style that you have, and it really does add to the immersion as well as allow you to focus your weapon much more in VR and gives you a better shot. So I put the ProTube on my list, and I think it's pretty cool. Disclaimer, I was not paid to put any of these products here. These are just a list. there are no affiliation links. There's nothing like that going on. So TPcast right here. This is something that I've used quite a bit. Unfortunately, the software that came with it was really bad, in my opinion. You have to download a separate software called OpenTPcast to get it to work. But if you do use that, this headset was amazing. When I was playing with it, I had a great time using it with freedom in my room. So I think the TPcast is a good resource. If you don't have an amazing computer, it's probably going to slow down your recording or your streaming. So keep that in mind. Having talked about that, if you don't want to get a TPcast of any sort, there's another thing you can do for your headset, excuse me, and that is the breakout cable. And of course, disclaimer, I make these things, by the way. So when it comes to virtual reality, for years, I used to sit there and try to make my setup as best as I could. So I would try to put my sensors up on the ceiling. I would try to extend everything that I could. And every time I would do all of these things, there was always a problem. Every time I do something, I learn it the hard way. So if I try to put a sensor over here and a sensor over there and a sensor behind me, my computer says, I'm sorry, your sensors don't work, they're too slow. So I had to get a USB cable card, one of those StarTech cable cards for the USB. So it had its own power. And then boom, solution solved, right? And no problem there. But then to get them on the ceiling, I needed to get, mounts for them. So I had to make mounts with my 3D printer and so on and so on. Every time I had a problem, I tried to create a solution where there wasn't one. And of course, there's become many, many more solutions since this time period, which is great for all of us enthusiasts. So we can actually, use these things or other things that are similar to it. I'm not saying you have to use these things. I'm saying you should find a solution similar to this. And if you do have a 3D printer, all of the designs that I make are available for free, so you can print them at home. So the breakout cable here is something that I've made several videos on. If you are interested in making one yourself, you can just buy the stuff yourself and make one, which I recommend doing. If you don't want to do that, of course, I have them for sale at provrgear.com. I'm going to say that shameless plug, woohoo! But the breakout cable, I genuinely think it's something that's really important to have because it saves my life when it comes to playing with virtual reality. I can just plug my headset into it and unplug it and put it on, where it needs to go. It's very easy for me to actually, get things taken care of when I use something like this. Even when I want to switch to the Vive, I literally just have to take the breakout cable and I can take the Vive breakout box and plug it into the cable and it works. So having something like this not only gives you peace of mind when you're playing virtual reality, you have a lot more space. You don't have to worry about your cable getting wrapped up and pulling it out of your computer. You also have the ability to just easily put your stuff away. So something like that, make one yourself, get one, do whatever you can. It's a great feature for your VR, especially if you're doing esports of any kind. I can't stress enough how much that makes it easier. For me, I like to play Echo Arena, and to do that, I use these magnetic lifts, and they keep the cable above my head. So that's one really cool thing right there. You can find solutions on Amazon. There's some on eBay. These are the ones that I made, and they've got a little magnetic piece in the top. So like if you pull it too far, the magnet pops out, and 1 in 100 times it snaps you in the head really hard, and you wish that you never bought it, and that's what happens. So yeah, all right, we're gonna go ahead. Sensor mounts. To get your sensors on the wall, the ones that I used to use the horseshoe one. Right now I'm actually currently using this bracket ones, which is up on the right here. And then of course I've got the modern mag mounts where you can use the magnets so you can put the sensors on the ceiling and pull them off. If you get your sensors above you, you have just so much more space. Right now I've got sensors above me, so I can just move all the way around. I better be careful because I'm gonna break some glass like I usually do. But yeah, it really helps with your, tracking. And if you are playing esports or really are, making sure, if you really want to make sure that you don't lose that tracking ever, it's an immersion thing. If you're ever playing a game and you see your hand go flying off in the distance, it breaks immersion instantly because, It can't happen. A lot of things can happen in VR, but not your hand flying off. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. And of course, the HMD mount, we've got this little thin piece of plastic that you can put your HMD on, or you can do 100 different things. Just get something so that you can make your HMD look fancy, put it on the wall. If it's not out, you're not going to use it. You want it to be somewhere where you can use it, where it's visible. You got to show it off to other people. They can say, wow, what is that? You could share it. You can make sure you put your headset somewhere. Which, talking about putting your headset somewhere, moving on to the next slide, we've got the Cybust right here in the same spot. The Cybust is something I actually am a big fan of. They're kind of expensive, but they're really cool, and they make your headset look pretty awesome. They're very, very heavy on the base, so when you put them down, the headset can't make them fall over because they're, like I said, very heavy. It's a great piece, and it looks really cool if you're doing streamer stuff and you got like a headset piece in the background. You got to think about your streamer background. If you're doing streaming stuff, you got to think about that background. I mean, I just put a green screen in the back, and that's how I do it. But this is, creating a good setup with some LED lights and stuff like that is very nice. VR covers are something that I've been using since I first got into virtual reality. It kind of goes without saying, it's a must. You need your VR covers. They're going to save your headset from all the sweat damage and all that fun stuff that goes along with playing with VR for hours and hours upon end. Jumping into this spot, talking about these things, these are some of the first things I've had, and I still stand by them. It's something as simple as a do-rag cap or a skull cap that when you're playing virtual reality, it prevents you from sweating all over your headset. I mean, you're wearing a $400 device on your head, and these things, are not only are they special to you, but other people want to use them. And you don't really feel too good when you give somebody else your headset, especially if it's got the sponge face mask and you've been sweating in it for a while, and even 2 days later, it's just not smelling good. So, wear a hat if you can. VR covers, they're great. The glove right here, the biker gloves, guys, you don't understand. The biker gloves will save your hands, especially if you start playing like Creed or Echo Arena or anything where you're just swinging your hands around. And if you ever accidentally punch a wall, you're going to be glad you were wearing your gloves, okay? Because these things can save your fingers. So yeah, it's underrated. Biker gloves are really cheap. You can pick them up at Walmart for like 10 bucks or cheaper. So that's what I use. I use cheap Walmart ones. Kind of goes without saying. So and if you guys ever watch one of the biggest VR streamers of all time, ZimTalk, he of course uses biker gloves. I saw him at OC5 or it was OC4 the first time, and I saw his biker gloves. I was like, high five, man, because I had some on me as well. And you just, when you use them, you just can't go without them after you've done it for a while. So, all right, getting off topic here, we're going to be jumping into the end of these accessories here. These are kind of the last ones I put on here. 3D rudder is one I'll talk about real fast. It allows you to sit down and use your feet as a locomotion tool. I can say if you're into any kind of game where, I guess even Sorrento, it allows you to use it, but any kind of locomotion game where you don't want to actually stand up for long periods of time, you can use something like this, and it actually works pretty well. There's a lot of people that have used it and enjoyed it. I've used it a little bit myself, but I can say it is responsive, it is accurate, and it is a good choice to use if you want to play VR games with that. I don't really recommend things like we've got those big Omni treadmills that we have. We've got a lot of different directional treadmills that have been coming out for the last couple of years. I've tried a lot of them, and personally, I don't, excuse me, think that they are worth the money at the moment. I've tried just a whole bunch of things, and there's just so much blocking you from actually running that there's so much immersion breaking in those things, and they cost so much money. I don't feel like they're worth it. But something even as simple as this allows you to sit into a chair and allows you to feel like you're moving without so much energy, and you're not using your hands. So and lastly, the Proximat. This one, I wish I could show you a Twitter GIF right now or something with sound, because I just completely destroyed some glasses the other day by smashing my hand into a cabinet, and I did not have a Proximat. What this is it's just a heavy-duty rubber mat that sits on the ground, and it's got a button in the middle, and you put your foot on it, right? And it tells you this is the middle of my space. And that other little button, if you ever look for it, it tells you, hey, that's the front of my space. So without having to take your headset off, you can just use your feet and figure out where you are in the room. And I can say when I use it, I don't break windows or glasses nearly as much. So I really do recommend that. And it's very helpful. Rugs just move around. So, all right, done with accessories. I know I didn't go over all of them. There's a lot of other resources on the computers and things like that, but these are just some VR accessories that I think are a must that I personally use a lot of the time. So moving on, we've got streaming tools. We're going to talk about the hardware, and I'm going to try to speed things up a little bit. I apologize for for giving you guys so much information, but try to digest it. This is you know a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I'm sure some of you, if you've done this, you've come with some experience already. So yeah, all right, we got some new people. Good to see you guys. All right, we've got streaming tools, hardware, Elgato Stream Deck I put on here, capture cards, mics, mic stands, mixers, cameras, and green screens. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And let's say the Stream Deck. I just did a video on this recently. I think it's a great tool. If you're going to be doing streaming regularly, if it's something that you plan on doing, this tool is absolutely going to save you some money, or say, with time. I mean, time is money, so it's really a great tool to have. What's going to happen here is when you start using this device, you can actually use it to record and change your settings in your streaming programs. And you can also use it to, cue songs, cue sound effects. What I'm currently using it for is not only to link to my programs, but it's linking to my OBS, my streaming software, as well as anytime I'm trying to get any quick tasks done. I've got a lot of shortcuts that are available to me. And although it seems like it's kind of a silly device to have, once you start using it, it's kind of a no-brainer. Rather than having to click with my mouse to get things open, I can click one button. And by clicking one button, I can open up my Restream chat, I can open up Twitch, I can open up YouTube, I can open up all these things in sequence by pushing one button. So that's really a useful tool to have. The capture card over here is something that allows you to stream your footage at a much higher frame rate and at a much smoother effect. If you're going to use one of these, though, you're probably going to have two PCs. So a PC and a laptop is a good combination, and it's currently what I'm using. My computer does not stream very well, the one that I'm using here in Brazil. So because of it, what I'm doing is I'm streaming from this computer to another PC, and from that PC it streams to the internet, and it solves my issues. So if you're having problems recording, or if you're having problems streaming on your PC, this can usually make your quality look much, much better. So I recommend getting one of those. And moving on, the microphone. So the mics, I'm just giving you an example of what I use. Remember, a lot of the things in this presentation are things that I use, not necessarily things that you have to get to be a streamer. This microphone right here is one that I've had for several years. It's a mid-quality microphone. It's not nearly as expensive as the Shure SM7B, which is the one I want really badly, of course. But this one is, like I said, about half the price of that one. And it's great to use when you're doing any kind of a podcast where you're talking about things where you're up close to the microphone and you're looking at the camera. Anytime you're having the camera in your face and you're talking, you want a mic that gives you that good quality. Of course, when you're standing away from the camera, when you're walking around or doing any activities, you need to have a lavalier mic. And a lavalier mic is a little thing that sits on your chest, like the news reporters use all the time. And that guy right here, I recommend. Sennheiser is a great brand, but there are many other ones available as well. And that's going to do you for the microphones right there. And of course, there are other microphones like Blue, MXL, Audio Technica. Those other mics can also do it for you. And you can get mics that directly plug into your computer, or you can get mics that go to XLR. And for that, you're going to need a few other things. But right here, pop filter. You don't want to be the annoying person that's making all the pops in your mic, so a pop filter does come in handy if you're doing any kind of a close-up talk with anyone. And a mic stand. Even if you don't use the mic stand on your desk, the mic stand comes in handy for holding up cameras, screens. It just becomes your friend when you're a streamer. So get a mic stand or two. They're always useful. They become your buddies. Right here, like I said, if you do have a mic that is going to plug in through XLR, you're going to have some way to plug in that XLR to your PC. And I personally use the Mackie Onyx Blackjack. And this guy right here is a very low price mixer. You can get expensive ones or small ones like this. Anything that plugs in with XLR in the back that then goes to USB to your PC. And lastly, we're going to have a camera or webcams. So right here, I've got a picture of the 4K Logitech webcam because it's the best one that Logitech makes. You've either got that, or you can get something like a DSLR cam right here, which is probably the best thing if you plan on doing anything with a chroma key or mixed reality, because it allows you to do the light settings perfectly. It allows you to get the right focus. And of course, if you have a screen on the front, man, that's the best thing because you can see yourself, which is kind of what you want if you're going to be making videos. I don't actually have this on my camera, so it's very frustrating, and I really wish I did have that. It would save me a lot of time. So lastly, streaming tools. We're going to talk for the end here is basically what tools can you use if you want to be a streamer. There are a lot of them out there. Some of the ones that we're not going to talk about is Filmora, Bandicam, Ice Cream, Movavi, Camtasia, and XSplit. They're good ones, but they're not really high on my list. I've seen a few of them, but they didn't make it to the list because I don't have that much experience with them. So maybe some people do like them more, and that's fine. It's really not about what software you use, it's about what you're comfortable with, and it's about what actually works. So up here, we're going to talk about the OBS and of course, some other streaming software such as Restream. Some things like Oculus Debug Tool are things that you can use to make your streams look better, and some other softwares that we can use to actually edit our videos and make the best presentations for ourselves. So we're just going to kind of run through those, and then we'll do some questions. So right here, I've got OBS and Streamlabs OBS. If you're going to be recording or streaming, you need to have some software. And personally, and I think most people can agree, OBS and Streamlabs are the two most popular softwares that you can use. I've used OBS now for many, many years, and what these are, they're open source, and they allow you to simply just, plug and play any kind of recording device on your PC, including your screen, any cameras, any microphones, and mix them all together and stream them or record. Of course, OBS is a very basic program in the sense that it doesn't have any bells and whistles with attachments. You can, of course, attach many things to it, but they're all custom. You have to add the code yourself. For example, to get certain screens in there, you have to add a browser and then add a link that's embedded for those different cues to pop up. Whereas over here in Streamlabs, OBS, we have a lot of things that are just in the software ready to go. So if you're into streaming, I do recommend Streamlabs. It is the #1 streaming software that's used currently.
Did anybody else lose audio?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I cannot hear.
Some of us can't hear you, Caleb.
while we're waiting for Caleb to get back from his little technical snafu, do any of you have any questions so far for Caleb about any of the accessories he was talking about? Anything kind of like on your mind related to that?
Curious how reliable the TP cast is.
How reliable the TV cast? Right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Right, we can definitely talk a little about that. Yeah, for those who weren't here earlier, the TP Cast is one of these wireless adapters that you can use on, at least I know, the HTC Vive and possibly some other VR headsets. But yeah, it's definitely like a third-party accessory. So we can definitely ask Caleb when he gets back. Andy, I just got word the TP Cast does work on both the Oculus and Vive. Personally, I've got an Oculus Rift. I haven't switched over to try and use the TP Cast yet, but I know some people definitely like that wireless capability. So I don't know if anyone else, like Anna, do you happen to have like a TP Cast? Would you know like how reliable it is?
Yeah, I actually have an Oculus TP cast. Yeah.
How is it?
I found pretty solid actually. The connection was surprised. I wasn't really far from it, but yeah, it seems really good. I never lost. Good thing to just hold it like this belt with a little connector, so it's really comfortable. Yeah, really good to play Beat Saber, I guess,
How's
without
the
breaking
battery life?
anything. To be honest, I didn't use much. I used it like one day, like trying out. I didn't get to the point to check how long. But I played for long. I think I played for more than 1 hour. I think Caleb has better for that, but I think I played for 1 hour and there's no problem.
Cool.
Let me see what's going on. I think he's almost coming back. He just restarted the computer.
Great.
You what? He's joining back Outspace.
Alrighty, so while we're just waiting for Caleb to get
Alright.
back, and he looks like he's here. Awesome. Caleb, you should be able to just teleport on the stage and then just turn on on-air and megaphone. I think you're still muted.
All right.
Oh, there you go.
Right now, we're back. I apologize. Thanks for sticking around, guys. All right. I'm not really sure where I left off. Probably was talking about something with virtual reality and Streamlabs. All right, Streamlabs is what we were talking about. Right? Yeah. We all remember Streamlabs. This is the program, and I guess I'm not going to try to go over things maybe if I did it already once before. I'm just going to say that this is a great program when you're getting into streaming. If you don't want to create everything from scratch, which is what you'd have to do over there. And what's going on, Dimwits? What's up, buddy? Glad to see. Once again, thanks for everybody for sticking around here. All right, so we're going to sit there and move on to the next slide here, and that's Restream.io. This is a program that allows you to connect and stream to multiple places at one time, which is a choice that you can do or not. Very quickly, you can stream to many different websites, many different platforms out there. You can, of course, go to one of the most popular places, which is Twitch. YouTube is also a very popular place, and you can stream directly to Facebook, which is another place that's starting to grow in popularity. Another place that you can also stream to is to Twitter. But to enable to do that, you have to actually get a Periscope producer version on your PC, but anybody can get it. So just sign up for that if you want to stream to Twitter. Anyway, Restream right here. What I can regularly do is stream to Mixer, YouTube, and Twitch all at the same time for free with no subscription, no price, no monthly cost. And I can actually just kind of, I would say, maybe possibly grow my audience that way. So it's a great thing to do. Some people prefer to just stream to one platform. If you are an affiliate with Twitch or one of their partners, you can only stream to just that platform. And I think that's the same as if you become kind of a very personal partner with YouTube or any of the platforms. But I don't actually have any of those things. Myself, I'm a hobbyist streamer, And I do this stuff because I love playing with virtual reality, and I love learning with it. I love promoting developers. When I see a new game or a game that I really like a lot, I like to play it and I like to promote it. I want people to know about it, right? So that's kind of why I started doing it. There are many different tools that you can use to get your software out there, as far as or your videos out there. But this one is one I recommend, and they do have a Discord if you want to talk to their team and add features to it. So since I know a lot of the people that watch my channel are Oculus users, I'm just going to put this tip in here, and for any of you guys that are using Oculus, this can be useful for you. Right here you can see the debug tool. It is in the documents folder for Oculus, and what it allows you to do is super sample your Oculus Rift, which gives you much better quality in the Rift as well as on the display. Not only that, you can change the display of that output window so you get kind of a wider view, which is something people have been wanting for a long time now. And what this does is it doesn't give you all the tools that you'd want, but it does allow you to just kind of play with the settings. So if you are wanting to get better quality output and you have a good graphics card, jump into the debug tool and play around with it. There's a lot of people who have made some videos with some good settings in there. So we're going to move on here. SparkoCam. This is software that I use for plugging in my camera directly to my computer. I have a DSLR Canon, and I can just plug in a micro USB to the side of the camera, and then the other USB goes into the PC. And with this software right here, I can actually just use it as a normal webcam. So I can use it in Live, I can use it for mixed reality, and it's really nice. If you don't use this software, you have to use a capture card of some sort, like an Elgato USB stick or a Blackmagic. You have to use something. So this kind of replaces those capture cards if you don't want to do it that way. Over here, Audacity. Every single time I stream, every time I start making videos, no matter what, I have to have Audacity. It's kind of a must on your PC. It's free software, and it allows you to edit your audio, and it's going to be useful for getting rid of noise. You can not really use it for streaming per se, but anytime you've done any kind of recordings for your streams, whether they be intros, outros, or just audio for the stream whatsoever, you're going to want to edit it, and this is a good free software to use for that. So moving on. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. Editing software. If you want to make videos, if you want to have a cool stream, you got to have some cool visuals. You have to have some movement happening at some point in time, whether it be while you're waiting, whether you're getting up to go to the restroom or grab some soda. You're going to have videos to play in between. And one thing that you can use with that, or to do with that, is this editing software. Magix Vegas is what I use most of the time. There's also Adobe Premiere and After Effects, which are very useful for when you're making these kinds of videos. Of course, when you're editing your videos, they also are a must-have. If you're using Windows Movie Maker and you're not doing it for a joke, then come on, yeah. So Magix Vegas is, of course, not a free software, but it is a very good intuitive software that I've used for many years. And Adobe Premiere, I think, is a good software. I think it's very, very good software. I'm slower at it. That's personally why I recommend Vegas more, because I'm faster at that. But to each their own. If you're using a Mac, Final Cut is kind of the premier software that you can use on a Mac. After Effects is its own thing. It's not really the same as Premiere or Vegas over here. After Effects kind of is its own little world where you can do a whole bunch of cool effects. So if you want to learn video editing, if you want to be into streaming, I highly recommend watching YouTube videos, tutorials on how to make really cool After Effects intros, outros, and then you're going to be one of the cool kids. So lastly, we're going to talk about music. And one thing, when you have a stream, when you have a YouTube channel, you come into the need of finding music a lot. And typing in royalty-free this, royalty-free that only works for so long. And you always have that horror of watching some other video and saying, oh, that's my song. And then yeah. So YouTube Music is a good resource because they have a lot more songs than they used to. But at the same time, they are used quite a bit. The moment a new song pops up, everybody's using it. So it is a good resource, but I do recommend some other resource such as, and I'm not saying just this one, but any website like Artlist, which is the current one that I'm using because my work uses it. It allows you to kind of search by different moods and genres, and having this music is different from just the average YouTube. Anytime you're paying for something, you're gonna, even if it's a small amount, you're gonna have a much smaller amount of people using that. So I do recommend going out of your way to put a little bit of money each month towards music if it's something you're going to do regularly. It saves you a lot of time and frustration. And I don't pay for a lot of things, as far as like, I don't pay for my streaming service because I don't think that that's necessary, but I do think it's necessary to pay for, you know, subscription to songs. And other people, depending on your needs, are going to think about that differently. So anyway, that's kind of it. Those are the different softwares that you can use. As far as getting your stream going and getting it set up, my piece of advice for everybody that thinks about this, maybe hasn't done it or has done it a little bit, is to just start. As people tell you all the time, just begin. It doesn't matter if everything's perfect. It doesn't matter if you are feeling the most confident. What matters is that you just start, and you can do it any way that makes you comfortable. I'm a shy person myself, but what's great right now is, even though I have an audience in front of me, I'm actually sitting in a room and there's no one here, so I'm fine. Okay, I'm fine. You know, it's something that's in your head. So the thing is, we all have the same feelings. We all want a lot of the same things. But the people that your audience is supposed to be, the people that you want to talk to, the people that you want to send a message to, are your friends. Okay, they're not the critical people, they're not the trolls out there, they're your friends. So, you know, you're not going to have to worry about the people that say something rude to you, and you don't have to even think about them when you're making your content, because your agenda is to create value for the people that you care about and your friends, which is the community that you're involved in. So and that's really the main point. And if that is your point, you're going to have a great time and you're going to have good success. So I really wish all of you guys would jump into it. One thing I also say quite a bit is I don't really believe that we should have these celebrities or these specific people up on a pedestal that are our number ones and our number twos out there. I think that we should have communities of hundreds of people that are on top, kicking butt and working together to do these things. Because the more we have that, the more fun that we have, and actually the better we can all be together. I truly mean that. That's super cheesy, but it's really true, and we all know it. So, you know, as opposed to having one or two people working really hard, if we're all just kind of working hard together and treating each other equally, it's going to be great. And the more streamers we have, the more content creators we have, the more we can all be on that level. And it's happening, so I'm happy to see it. But that's what I have to say about that. It's my 2 cents. It's how I truly feel about this. I want there to be more positive people, more good-spirited people involved, and there is a lot of people right now. So, and all of you good people right now. So that's it for my quick presentation. I'm going to go ahead and end it right there. I think we have some time for some questions, and if any of you guys do have any questions about streaming, about accessories, any questions for me personally, just let me know, and I'm going to go ahead and pop up over here into the audience participation. It says we've got a question from Alan, and Alan, I'm going to go ahead and give you the stage. What's your question, my friend? Alan, is Alan here? Is Alan not? Alan, hey, you should be able to talk if you unmute yourself.
It's on your menu.
Oh, unmute. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay,
that's the
Alan.
first order of business. But how do you separate the demographic between the people that are under 18 and over 18 and over 21, over 35? I think there's a big problem with the demographic of age.
As far as people who are watching streams, or people who are using VR?
Yeah, everything. Like all the different VRs that I've been into, like it's been a wide array of people, which is great. But how do you separate the, under 18, under 15, 13?
As far as,
it seems like there's no, yeah.
As far as, content, I guess I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. What I think is, like, as far as like separating your audience, people that are going to watch you or what you plan to do. For me, I personally generally make videos that are about technical things, and I generally do live streams, and I don't do much, scares, and I don't scream much on camera, right? So because of it, my audience is generally older or my age. I don't really get any kids at all, so my demographic is different. It's kind of, it's the content that you create as well as how you act with it. And for me, my demographics are, mainly people that are similarly aged to me. And I think that goes to the fact of kind of how I hold myself and act. Although I am pretty goofy and stupid a lot of times, I for the most part, try to not embarrass myself. I always have it in the back of my mind that my dad might watch one of my streams. And, you know, my dad's got a good sense of humor, but at the same time, he doesn't want me making a jackass out of myself. So I think that that kind of helps with that. But does that help answer it maybe? Or is there more to it that you had?
It does. Um, just not really sure why we're in this room right now. The Hive. What's the purpose again?
The Hive. It's a talk show created for people that want to find out information about things in VR. I like your Pokemon hat. All right, I do have a question from YouTube. What area should you invest your money into for streaming? Which type of accessory? Well, besides a computer, because I think a computer is probably the most important thing. As you just had earlier, I kind of popped out and failed for a second. You know, when that happened, that was because the computer I'm using is kind of, it's actually it's not a computer, guys. It's actually a potato, and I just kind of jammed all these plugs into the potato, and I'm really surprised this is working right now. But sometimes it falls over, so that's what happens. But no, if you invest on a good computer that works really well, you're going to have much more success with your streams not failing. So number one, that if you have a good PC and you have a laptop or another computer, I do recommend on a streaming card to be able to just lighten the load and make everything just really, really easy. But where would you invest your money the most? And I would say it's not really your money that you need to invest. I don't think money is the most important thing to be a streamer. I think that it's your time, and I think it's your effort on doing something positive. And you know, something positive can be something stupid to make something laugh. That can be your positivity. Something positive could be making a really technical video to save other people lots of time, which then in turn saves hundreds of hours of people's time overall, which is attributed to you. So there's many things that you can work on to give other people value, to make things good. And I think that that's the most important thing, is putting your time into it. The money is really not that important, as long as you have the basic gear to, of course, go online and use your computer. So that's my answer for that one. You know, if you look at my early videos, even a couple years ago, when I started getting into virtual reality, when I started making videos and was hanging out with the VR spies and doing everything, I was in a one-bedroom apartment with cardboard desk and a cardboard this, and you know, like I didn't have money or anything, but I had, you know, plenty of inspiration and passion for playing with virtual reality and making the videos. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up if we don't have any more questions, which I think, oh, we have one last one here. We got Steve. Steve, you got a question, man? I'm gonna go ahead and.
Yeah, I was wondering about your TP cast. I asked earlier when you were gone, but how reliable is it? Does it seem pretty reliable? Can you use that?
So after installing OpenTPcast, because I can only really say my experience with the OpenTPcast, it's what I used the most. I didn't have very good experience with the original, or without the software update. But once I used the software update, I can say it was a breeze. Basically, from walking into my room, I would pick up the TPcast off the wall with my headset. I would plug in the battery. I would open up one program on my computer, and within about 20 seconds, it was connected. And if I put my Rift on my head, it started up Oculus Rift like normal. And from that point forward, we were good to go. So I had no issues with it. And like I said, I had a good time with it. My only issue was when I tried to record with it. It's a lot of task for one computer to record and do the TPcast. So if you plan to record with the TPcast, probably going to want a game capture card. So that's what I'm thinking there.
Awesome. Good to know.
Thank you, sir. And it looks like I have a last question here from Nava. Nava.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great.
So I have a question. I have a question on how you promote your videos. So, like, you know, how do you get them shared? Are there communities within communities within YouTube that you use, or?
For sure. So I can try to answer that real quick. So it completely depends on the video that I make. Myself personally, I make a lot of different videos. So there's some that I want to promote in a sense, and there's some that I don't. A lot of videos that are more personal or just kind of fun videos, I don't promote. I don't even share very, much of the time, except for like maybe Twitter. But so like if it's a good video that I'm trying to promote, with like playing a cool Echo game, or I'm playing some new game that I want to definitely get out there, the places that I usually promote is, of course, making sure that it goes live on YouTube. As soon as it goes live, I try to get some engagement on the video. So to get engagement, I post it onto Twitter. I post a link to Instagram telling people, hey, there's a new video, and of course Facebook. And what's great about Facebook is not only does it have your page, but we've got your page for your channel, and then you've got groups. So I've got all these groups that I try to share it to, like the virtual reality group, the Oculus virtual reality group. And then comes Reddit. And Reddit is that really touchy place of like, can I promote? Can I do something funny? So Reddit's kind of a touchy place, but when I go there, if it's a good quality for me, I have to really feel like my video is giving quality, like or value in some way. And if it's doing that, then I have no problem putting it on there, because I know people can see that. And then when I do that, I try to put some kind of a title that's, for me, like I said, I always try to come from that honesty type. Like, I'm not trying to clickbait people. I really don't want people to feel clickbaited.
Right.
Talking about something that people are caring specifically about at that time, or it just means that the audience is still too small for what you care about. So either you stick with it, or you move on to subjects that are more on topic with what people are looking at. I personally do things that I think are interesting at the time. I don't really care about what's popular for everybody, because they change all the time, all the time. And me, I want to have a channel that's my likes and the things that I'm seeing, because once again, my audience is supposed to be people, for me, that care about similar things and want to see those things. So I also, there's lots of videos that come out sometimes, and I try not to double do those videos. But anyways, I hope that answers some of that. I don't have any special sauce for some secret places. There are, of course, great groups you can join on Slack or Discord. And if you join those groups and you do have a Reddit post or you do have a video, you can share it on those groups. So Discord is one other place that you can share a video and have a lot of friends jump up in there. So yeah, that's the best way to get in there. Best way to do it is to make content consistently, though, quality content consistently. And all right, guys, wrapping it up right here. You can see up here on the board, we've got the upcoming guests, Nick Mitchell. He is going to be the next guest host, and he is going to rock it. As you can see right there, he's ready for action. So thank you. Round of applause for everybody who is here tonight.
Thank you.
And
Nice
really
job,
appreciate
Caleb.
everyone who showed
Awesome.
up. Thank you. Thank you. And if I didn't answer anything, feel free to reach out to me at RealityCheckVR on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and I really do want to help out everybody that I can. Special thank you to Vivian, Michael, Trip, Nubin, Rel, Yunji, and follow us at the Hive VR, and them, me, temporarily them. And of course, I do also want to say a big thanks to all the virtual reality friends that I have out there, everybody who's in the audience tonight, of course, the people that I get to run into and meet, the VR Spies guys, the F Reality crew, of course, the VR Roundtable, all the VR content creators, the Twitter group, all, they all mean everything's, yes, thank you. I really appreciate it. So you guys have a great night. I'm gonna go ahead and end it. We're gonna do the music. Is it? Yep. All right. Yep. All right.